Getting healthy can be as simple as starting to grow your own garden. And today I want to show you and tell you about 10 things you can grow in the fall and spring that all will build up your health. So come along with me today. Growing a life-giving garden was something that I started doing many years ago to build health in myself and in my family. And I wanted to save money. I wanted to know exactly where my food was coming from. I wanted to know that I could come out to my garden and pick something and know that chemicals and things weren't a part of that and then weren't going to be a part of my own body. I spent years detoxifying my kids and me, and I realized that growing my own food is a part of that detoxification. Growing my own food is a part of that health. Today, I want to show you how to develop healthier habits so that your garden can be something that gives you life inside of your kitchen and for your family, for your life. Have you ever been to the grocery store and you needed a tub of lettuce and you grab it and you put it in your cart and then you take it home and you're like, okay, I'm gonna make a salad, and you pull out the lettuce and there's slime? That slime means that lettuce has been there too long. But the crazy part is that lettuce probably has only been there a couple days. Lettuce is not supposed to be picked and then stored and then transported and then bought and then used. Lettuce is supposed to be picked and used within the day. The nutrients that lettuce has on the first day of picking is so much more than at the very end of that grocery shopping trip. There are less nutrients in that tub of lettuce with the slime than there are if you were able to go out and pick your own lettuce and use it within a day or two. So today, as we're going through the different kinds of vegetables that you can grow in your garden that are the top things for your health, I want you to have in your picture in your head that growing things does take time and learning it does take time. But once you have those skills, learning one simple thing at a time, only learning how to do lettuce, only learning how to grow carrots, pick one or two veggies that you're gonna be focusing on this season, and those veggies will be the ones that will start building up nutrients and health in your own family. You're also gonna be building up your confidence for everything that you plant and that you're successful at doing that with. You're gonna have more success in the future with other things that you're gonna be planting out. Then you'll move on to snap peas or maybe cucumbers, and you're gonna continue to add health to your garden, one plant at a time. So let's go ahead and take a look at things that you can grow in the warm season, hot season, and in the cool season for your health in your life-giving garden. As we move into the cooler months, if you're starting for a fall garden or a spring garden out of a very cold season, these are the 10 most nutritious things. So let's take a look. The first one is kale. Kale is high density, nutritious greens that you can grow in your garden. You can have curly kale or you can have a flat kale. Both have the same type of nutrition. There's one type of kale that you can grow called the 1000 kale that I get from Baker's Creek that does not attract any type of aphids. Something that kale does that's super important and super amazing, besides being nutritious, is that kale can be planted by seed or seedling into the ground 6 to 8 weeks before your first frost or 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost. And the kale will grow for 1.5 years, 2 years. It's a biannual. Once you establish kale in your garden in the cool seasons, then all the roots are able to withstand the heat of summer. It's absolutely amazing to have kale in the summer. Kale almost grows like a tree. I almost think of it kind of like a palm tree. I harvest around the kale and it starts going up in a big stem and it keeps growing. Just remember, in the winter months, all things grow slower because there's not all the heat that normally is happening in the summer, right? Summer veggies grow fast because of the heat, but cool season crops grow slower because there's not as much heat going on. Broccoli is second on my list, and how I plant out broccoli is definitely as a seedling, and you want to start broccoli 10 to 12 weeks indoors as a seed if you're going to plan on planting it for your fall garden. Broccoli has wonderful nutrients like K and C vitamins, lots of fiber and potassium. Something I eat a lot of is broccoli. Just being a woman, it's really good for our systems and our bodies to have these nutrients in broccoli. Broccoli usually grows and then it will have even little shoots at the end that you can also pick from. You can also use the leaves for a lot of your nutrition. You can use them for salads. You can also put them in smoothies. So broccoli is a great thing to grow in your cool season garden. Carrots are one of those very amazing vegetables, the brilliant bright colors of the orange. And sometimes you can grow other colored carrots too, but all of those colors represent something amazing. They're really rich in beta carotene. Carrots bring wonderful fiber, and I love to add carrots to stews, eat it fresh. Something amazing about carrots is they're able to withstand cooler temperatures. So even if you live in a region that snows, you don't necessarily need to cover your carrots because the cooler weather lets the carrots actually ripen sweeter. So if you happen to harvest some of your carrots in January, they'll be sweeter than if you harvest them in November. Such an amazing, cool thing. Really great to mulch around the carrots so that you can enjoy this healthy vegetable from your garden and just pick what you need. Leave the rest of the carrots in until you need them all season long. Spinach. It is such a great powerhouse for your body. Spinach not only has fiber, but it's loaded with iron, calcium, and other things like vitamin C and vitamin K. The nice thing about spinach is the dark green leaves can be harvested, a third of the leaves every time you go and harvest. And you can keep the spinach continually growing. So you have a cut and come again kind of harvest. Spinach comes in a lot of different varieties, so I recommend trying out different varieties for the area where you live and finding that 1 or 2 spinach varieties that work best in your climate. Brussels sprouts, these tiny little miniature cabbages on a stem are filled with wonderful vitamins. Vitamin C, vitamin K, fiber, antioxidants. And these wonderful things are wonderful to roast, especially in the cooler seasons. I love Brussels sprouts, especially cut up and put in the oven with a little bit of olive oil and salt and a little bit of bacon. That's just my favorite. But Brussels sprouts are a really fun thing to add to your winter palette from your garden. Another great thing to grow is cauliflower. I mean, nowadays you use cauli rice or you make cauliflower from all different things and you make pizza from it. There's just so many things to do with cauliflower these days. And it's a great substitute for a lot of carbs in your meal. Some things that cauliflower has is vitamin C, vitamin K, antioxidants. And cauliflower is something that you would start 6 to 8 weeks before your first frost. And you would go ahead and cover it with an insect cloth so that no little bugs or worms or critters can go in and start eating and continue eating throughout the entire time of winter. You don't want anything to be eating it. After a few weeks, take the insect cloth off and you can cover your cauliflower if it's under 35 degrees in your area to continue growing it. At the end of the season for cauliflower, you want to go ahead and close up the leaves, maybe with like a rubber band at the top, so it protects the color of the cauliflower from looking brown. You want to keep it blanched into a white. So those are some tips for cauliflower. That particular vegetable is a super fun one to grow and absolutely delicious from an organic garden. Now let's talk about beets and radishes. Beets and radishes are particular for root vegetables. So, and the seeds come so small. This is something I love to grow, especially with children, because they can plant them and they will grow between 30 to 55 days, depending on the variety. And you will be able to have your child pull those beets or radishes out and eat them right there if it's a radish. The beets you might want to go ahead and cook. So, okay, but let's back up here. Radishes pull out and eat. Beets, go ahead and pull them and then cook them together. Or you can add them to a salad. I mean, no one says you can't eat a beet raw. It's a fun thing to add to your palette because of the vibrant colors. Those colors signify that there are some really wonderful things like folate and manganese, and also vitamin C, E, and potassium. So the brighter and the more flourishing the colors are to your things and vegetables, the more powerful those things can be in your body to give you more nutrition. But beets and radishes are just such a fun way to go as a family thing. And you can go ahead and grow them and then grow another set of them 2 weeks later in a successive planting type of style. And you can also fit them around different things like tomatoes. As the tomatoes are finishing, you can go ahead and have beets and radishes shaded by the tomatoes before the cool season crops come in. They're a fun way to keep all your spaces busy. I've also known people to use the greens from the beets in their smoothies. I personally do not enjoy it. It tastes a little bit like mud, but some people really enjoy it because there is so much nutrition in those greens. So take a try and see what you think. Swiss chard. Now, some people consider Swiss chard to be a lot like spinach, and there is an ever-growing type of spinach called a chard. But Swiss chard can come in wonderful colors, rainbow chard, pink chard, just the normal green chard. It is one of my very favorite things to grow from seed. You can also do it as a seedling. But the reason I love Swiss chard is because pests and little aphids do not like to land there, do not like to stay in Swiss chard. I am not fighting my plant to stay alive. It's also something just like kale that will last for over 1.5 to 2 years. Plant it in the fall in the cool, or plant it in the spring in the cool, and it will continue to grow even through the cold, cold winter and even through the warm, warm, hot summer. So something about Swiss chard that's fun is I go and I plant, and then I go ahead and harvest 1/3 of Swiss chard. I chop it up. I love to make it as a sauteed green because it adds those nutrients that are so needed in the wintertime to keep me healthy. So some of the nutrients that Swiss chard contains is A, vitamin C, vitamin K, and it just adds the boost of nutrients I need so that I don't get sick and my family doesn't get sick. I like to saute it, put it with eggs. I like to saute it and put it with soups. I like to put it in my spaghetti sauce. You really can't go wrong, even as a pizza topping. I enjoy the taste with onions and a little bit of olive oil and salt. It is an amazing thing and booster to add to your weekly palette in the winter. Last but not least, leeks. Leeks have some wonderful properties, and I like growing leeks in the wintertime, fall to winter, because I'm not growing onions, but leeks are a lot like onions. They are in the onion family, and they have high vitamin A, vitamin K, and I appreciate that I can pull a leek out when needed and use it in a soup. You can make a leek soup that makes it actually kind of thick, or you can just add it as a part of any meal, kind of like an onion. So leeks have a very mild taste that also bring in so many nutrients. And when I don't have onions from my garden available, because I usually plant onions in the springtime, then leeks are a great addition to the meals that I have going on in my kitchen. All of these things are very nutritious and very healthy and will bring well-being to your garden and to mine, but more importantly to your kitchen and your bodies. So I want to encourage you to be adventurous this season and pick one new thing to grow. And I would also like to encourage you to join my membership to learn how to bring health and well-being to your life through gardening, where you can ask me specific questions and we go through specific master classes on how to grow these specific things just to bring goodness to you. Your life-giving garden starts today. By watching this video and taking some of the tips, you can start growing health every single day right where you live. So let's start by clicking subscribe. Follow me in my other videos so that you can know what to grow for your life-giving garden.